Welcome to another episode of Don't You Have Something Better to Do with Chris Donley right here. Please, I'm a musician now doing interviews and having fun and chatting with old friends that I haven't seen for a long time, taking the time just to talk to me about what they think about the music industry. Let's see, I've released a lot of original music and I'm currently putting everything up on my solo Bandcamp page of every single piece of music I've ever released. It's taking quite a while because there's a lot and there's a lot more to come. So do me a favor, if you dig what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share it, and if you got anybody that you might want me to get a hold of to interview, we'll try it. I'm still new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I said, it's more of a selfish thing to just reconnect with some old friends and people I respect that I've come across in the music industry slash my career. Today, I have an old friend, Sergio Ruiz. Um, when I was in my youth, Sergio and his friend really were pivotal in trying to make the scene work, introduce people to other people and bands to other bands, and really, I have a lot. I owe him a lot. Owe him and Curtis a lot because they opened their own little music store, and in the meantime, they probably just used any profits they made from that to put out their fanzine. It's called the Village Buzz. So we're talking late '90s, early 2000s, and everything. He had this huge, awesome email list and people bantering back and forth. Some people agreeing, some people disagreeing. Um, but all in all, it was a really cool time and a really cool thing that they were doing and trying at least. And in the meantime too, he was drumming for his band, Adrenaline Rocket, as well. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend Sergio Ruiz.
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just got your picture though. You got your video up? There he is. What's up, pal?
You see
I
it?
got you. How you been, brother?
Good. How about you? I haven't used Zoom in a long time. I want to make sure everything was up to date.
It's all good, man. I still don't know what I'm doing really. I literally doing this for a selfish reason, just to say hey to people I haven't talked to or seen for a long time.
Right
And I
on.
and I honestly felt that you needed to be on that list because you were an important part of my musical journey. I
I'm
kind of
always screwing around behind the scenes.
It's awesome though, man. Do me a favor. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself right now. Where are you
Like how it
Where are you
involves.
from? Where are you from? How'd you get to Ohio? All that good
Okay,
stuff.
I grew up in Southern California, Ventura County, and got out of college, realized that there was no way I was going to be able to afford a house. That financially just even though I went to a good school and had a good job, financially things didn't look promising in Southern California. So I was a chemist and I got a job offer to come out to Ohio and I just left everything. I was like 23 years old. I left everything behind and came out here. And I was playing in a band, a couple bands out there, and I said, "All right, so when I move to Ohio, I'm not ever gonna do music again." And by the end of the week, I was in another band in Ohio. So, yeah, that's how I got here. And I have never, well, I mean, I go back home to visit, but that's it. I'm never gonna go back home.
Yeah. Well, how did you? I explained that you and Curtis had
City Village.
CD Village, sorry,
Yeah.
and then I'm assuming like you everything you made from that went into the Village Buzz, the fanzine you guys created because
Well, the CD Village at first belonged to Curtis. That was his deal.
oh, it
And
was okay.
yeah, and I just hung out there. And, yeah, so I was just like hanging out the record store, just like I did when I lived in California. Actually, there's a side story behind that, and maybe you can help me kind of move that down the line, but we can talk about that later. Um, but I was hanging out at the record store. Then we ended up like I kind of ended up going and seeing bands around town and thinking that, there's a lot of stuff going on around here and people don't really know about it. So I kind of funded that thing through its lifetime, the Village Buzz,
Mhm.
just from my day job because I've always had a good day job. I was a chemist and software engineer and that kind of stuff. So I just use my money to fund that thing because that's never gonna make any money. It's
Luckily, I mean, it got to a point though where it was getting you were doing so many copies that you were getting some advertising revenue to
yeah,
come in and
yeah.
hopefully cover costs. I mean,
No, no
it was,
way.
but it was awesome, man. It was
Yeah.
I just if I could show my gratitude to you and Curtis both for like just kind of helping all of us, all of us kids that were just trying to play music
Yeah, yeah.
and I,
Well, it was a hobby, and a hobby doesn't have to make money, you don't have to make money at everything you do. I mean, all the stuff I do outside of my day job now doesn't make any money.
right.
It's still fun and everybody still has a good time. So
Would you,
it's not money making isn't the only thing in the world.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Talk about like the 6 degrees of Ohio right now.
Okay, so well, Fred Coffin, right?
Yeah, Fred's my dude.
So I was working down at his studio, just kind of like him and I were throwing together thoughts for we worked on stuff for a couple years, and I said, I don't think that there's even enough interest right now to do anything musically. I don't think anybody gives a shit, it's just kind of done. And so I said, well, I got to think of a way to shake the bushes and see if anything falls out. So that same night, I saw that they were looking for record show or radio shows on Wilders Community Radio. So I got a hold of them and they said, sure, like give us a write-up on what you want to do and how you're going to do it and how it's going to be incorporated into the whole scheme of Wilders Community Radio. And if it sounds good, we'll do it. And so I did, and they did it. And so that was kind of my cue to see if anybody was interested in live local music anymore. And there totally is. Lots and lots of people.
No, it's awesome, man. You've always been so supportive to all of it. I mean,
Well, and it's not like I'm doing anybody favors, really. I like music,
right.
That's the only thing that keeps me alive.
What were the bands in California you were in like? Were they like punk bands or like
Um,
because Adrenaline Rocket, I mean, I thought they were just a rock band, I
yeah, it
mean,
was like a pop rock band.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Nothing really like that. I was more doing like ska bands.
Really?
Yeah, because I was really into ska back in the 80s. And we were doing like just a lot of punk and there was a band that kind of influenced everything I do musically. It's called X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're from Southern California also. They're from my area. Them and a band called Los Lobos, they kind
Oh,
of like were my core influence. And a band called Oingo Boingo, which is another
Danny
Southern.
Elfman. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So those guys were kind of my core California influences. And so I
It's a nice
saw
mix, man. Like, like
yeah,
the kind of punk underground and like
right, right.
Tex-Mex and
But I saw Los Lobos at a park down by my house when I was a kid, and I was like, man, there's a bunch of Mexicans and they're being in a rock band, so I could be in a rock band, and that was it.
that's awesome, man.
Kind of because so I've been playing drums my whole life, and then so at some point I just said, well, I want to be in a rock band, and that was that.
Why drums? Like, is there like do you have like a musical hero drummer
Oh
or,
yeah, yeah. So all right, so my dad was a horn player, and he was really into this band called Tower Power from Oakland. So he took us to see Tower Power, saying, "Well, hey, when you see these guys, you're gonna want to be a horn player too." And there's a dude named David Garibaldi on the drums, and I was like, "Oh no, man, I want to be a drummer." So David Garibaldi was the guy that made me like want to be a drummer.
Do you remember what the first like album you ever bought with your own money was?
I
No,
don't. 'Cause I started super early. Like
really?
I was mowing lawns when I was 6. So
You got what when you were 6?
I was mowing lawns to buy
Oh, oh,
records.
dude, I'm with you. Like,
Yeah, so I think the first one I remember, which I know isn't the first, but I remember Kiss Alive 2 was the first one that I
no
really
way.
buying with
That's
my own money.
awesome.
There were other ones before that, but I mean that record was awesome.
What are like your top 5 bands of all time if you had to pick off the top of your head?
Oh, this is gonna change tomorrow, but
Right.
okay, number one probably Luna, Galaxy 500, that those guys. Probably the Police. Probably
So
Elton John.
was Copeland like a huge influence on you?
Yeah, Copeland's one
Um,
who said, "Oh, I could probably play rock drums too, because that guy's playing rock drums and he has a jazz background, so maybe I could do it too."
right.
Who else? I would have to say Simon and Garfunkel.
Really?
Oh yeah, Yeah, and oh, above all, number one, Brian Wilson.
Really? Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not really Beach Boys as much as Brian Wilson, even though there's like a ton of intersection there.
Okay.
But
His
Brian
solo
Wilson,
stuff, huh?
his solo stuff and his writing was
Mm.
my thing.
How do you feel like right now? Like we've literally witnessed the music industry go
Yeah,
all which
upside
way.
down.
Like
Right.
how do you feel? I mean, do you think it's a positive state of music right now, or do you think it's kind of
Hmm.
strange, or do you think it's better for the artist? What do you think about the whole
Man,
major labels and
that's
everything?
that's a huge box of stuff to go through. But so what we've had in the past couple months or couple years is streaming is huge. I mean, you can stream anything.
Mhm.
I'm always arguing with people that I think it's a good thing. I think streaming is a good thing because if you're looking at like people that come see your show or see your band, and it's hard for them to want to come out. It's hard for music fans to want to come out and see something they've never heard and never heard of when there's like five other bands playing that they've heard of and that they
Right.
like. I think of streaming more as a commercial for the music. So, like if you tell me, "Hey, come check," or you got to check out my side project, Love Lag. And so I'm like, the first thing I'm doing is bringing it up on streaming and listening to whatever you tell me on streaming and checking it out. Um, and then that way, when I go to the show, I know what's going on. I know the songs and that kind of thing. People argue that people aren't buying CDs anymore because of that, but I don't think. I mean, there was like you guys who knew how to sell CDs, and a couple other local people who do know how to sell CDs, but not most people are never gonna. Nobody's gonna ever hear their music other than going to a show.
Plus,
So,
now, I mean, nobody has CD players anymore. Like
right.
cars aren't even made with CD players. Like the last album we put out, we barely got any CDs printed just because it's, you know, it's all
Yeah.
about digital. And I mean, we got some vinyl printed, and I've gotten
Uh-huh.
a few other vinyls printed because it's funny how that's come back. But
Well,
I mean,
yeah, if you look behind me, I mean, I still got all my vinyl from back in the day.
but that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I guess I just wanted to ask the question because I kind of agree with you that streaming is good, and it's awesome that we have so much of the power as the artists or the musicians,
Yeah.
that who knows, one thing could go viral and
Yeah. You just, and I mean, it's not, you don't want to shoot for that because it's impossible to tell, but
right.
who the thing that I'm finding though is that so I've been going to shows since I was a kid, right? So I've seen crowds all over California and all over Ohio, and I feel like in the past 5, 10 years, these crowds are a lot bigger.
Think so?
There's, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I go to shows like just the other night I was at Grog Shop,
Okay.
and I swear to God, they were filled over capacity.
Really?
Like if anything were to happen, we'd all be dead. The funny thing is now, okay, so here's a perfect example. So my daughter's 17. She drives a car now, but I mean, she just started driving a car in the past year. Um, so I took her to shows ever since she was a little baby. And now, since we have streaming and all that, and her and her friends like say trade playlists and all that, she hears about bands and goes, "Hey, can we go see these guys at the Grog Shop?" And people I never heard of. I'm
Right.
sure, sure, let's go. So yeah, so we're in the car going to some show that I've never heard of because we have streaming audio. I feel like the touring thing is huge right now. And I have data on that too, because I listened to a friend of mine, Ted, has this thing called Bagel Radio out of New York City, and he plays um, he's does live DJ set every Friday for 8 hours, and they play like new music and new alternative and that kind of stuff. And so I started keeping a list of all the bands that he played, and then I wrote a program that goes through and finds like you put in your zip code or city or whatever and how many miles away you want to go, and it shows all the bands that play on that radio show in that radius coming up. And so there's bands that, I talk to people that live in California, Colorado, Germany, whatever, and they see these same bands on those same tours because of that app.
That's awesome.
We can kind of figure that out. And so
What is the app called? Is it
bagelconcertfinder.com. It's not an app, it's just a website.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of want to do that for our area, but I just got to figure out how to get the dates.
Yeah.
Because I typing them in is, man, that's I can't do that.
Yeah, that'd be something to, I mean, I don't even know what's the the go-to now. Bands in Town or something. I don't
Yeah,
even know.
Bands in Town is what I use for that other one.
Is it?
I just get the name of the band, get all the shows and venues, and suck them in that way. So if our people would start using Bands in Town for their gigs, man, that'd make it totally easy.
Did you always like playing live better or studio better?
Live, I
Live.
hate playing in the studio.
Do you
I
really?
hate it. I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, because I like raging ADD, and I don't care about engineering or mastering or mixing or any of this stuff.
Just
Like
want to
I don't give a shit about it.
grind it out, get on stage and sweat, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you mess up like live and you can catch it, nobody cares. Nobody even hears it.
Right.
And it's just gone. It's gone into history and nobody cares. But man, you do it live in the studio and you got to go over and over. And some people are really good at as recording engineers and mixers and all that. Like Marshall, he's awesome at that because his brain works like that.
Yeah.
He can listen to something 10,000 times and dial it in, and like after one time I want to go home or go do something else.
Well, plus it's like under the microscope so much. Like
Yeah.
you can. It was pretty funny because I'm reading Michael McDonald's book right now.
Oh, huh.
He's talking about Porcaro was playing drums on. I keep forgetting.
He's from my area too, Picaros.
Yeah, amazing. And like, it's nice that they're finally getting the recognition they deserve too, other than Toto and stuff. But like
Right.
crazy. But like, they did one take. They come out of the booth and they're like, I don't think we need to try it again. We got it. And he was like, I dropped my stick at this point right here, and he was so quick to grab it again. They didn't even miss a beat, and they're like, nope, we're using this take. It's perfect.
Right, right.
Just funny the talent and everything, and but being under the microscope, in the studio.
And like I never listen to the stuff that we recorded just because I hear every little detail that I don't like. I don't hear it like in everybody else. Everybody else seems like did a great job, but my stuff I don't like to hear it. But I did kind of start listening to some of the back catalog, and I mean it was good. I liked it. Like it's far enough back where I forgot what I didn't like about the performance, and it sounded good. I like the songs.
How many albums have you like been on?
I don't know. Uh,
Too many to
Adrenaline
count.
Rocket was like I think we did 4 or 5, and I was with, do you remember Hard Party?
Hmm.
Joe Licious and
Sounds
No.
familiar.
I was in that band for a while. Me and my ex-wife were in that band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was the band that I joined when I first got to Ohio, and I'm the only one alive out of that band left.
Wow.
Yeah, it was me and my ex Maki, who came out with me from California, and it was Joe Licious and his ex Nova,
Hmm.
and they're all gone now.
I'm sorry, dude. Sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
it's just weird. It like kind of weirds me out every now and then.
Mortality.
Yeah.
What did you ever find yourself like going to studio sessions with other bands or like anybody ever
Oh,
like invite you in? Did you enjoy
all the
that?
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time.
Do you like doing that?
Yeah, I like hanging out when I don't have to care when the red light goes on. I
Right.
like that. I mean, I'm always good for hanging out and drinking beer and stuff.
Right.
I just don't want to be like sitting there and have everybody waiting on me to get my part right and all that stuff. But I did find like so we would go and do a bunch of shows and then we come to the studio and man, we would just crank it out. It was awesome. But if there was any kind of lull between that, it was bad.
Really. If you
I
could
think
if you could sit in on any album, band, studio session like through history, who would it be? Who would it be? What album?
man, it'd probably have to be like one of the Steely Dan sessions, like for Asia.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be like awesome. That's another one of my favorite bands is Steely Dan.
Yeah. Well, what? Donald's who's left? Donald and
Yeah, I think that's it.
is it?
All the other guys are just like
Just
in and
hired
out.
guns. Yeah.
Even I think Jeff Baxter was a hired gun.
Yeah. Well, in the Michael McDonald book, like he got pulled in, I want to say by Picaro, I think. But
Oh yeah, because he sang on Peg. He did backup on Peg.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you had unlimited budget and pick of the litter for a producer to do an album that you're going to be on, who would it be?
Wait, do I got to be on it or can I produce it?
Well, I guess that's you're producing it
Okay,
then.
so I already have like ideas about this. So. I would love to do a kind of like a modern, I don't want to say soft rock, but like yacht rock album.
All right.
So, all right, so for a drummer, I would pick that kid that played with Junk Queen. If I pick
Well,
him,
Dennis was the guitar player.
yep, Dennis was a guitar player,
Catherine
Catherine was
was the
a singer,
singer.
but that kid would be the drummer. Uh
Okay.
Tommy Wiggins on keys.
Is he still in Nashville?
Yeah, he's still in Nashville. I talk to him usually once a month,
Really?
catch up. Yeah.
I
He
s
did a little show up here at Marshall's not too long ago.
okay.
In last year, last summer.
I stopped in and saw him on my one solo trip.
Did you go up into a studio?
Yeah, it's pretty cool,
Yeah,
man.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome. Wait, you know what? I think he's on the road now. I don't think he lives in Nashville anymore. He might be like doing this mobile studio thing from
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah. He
Huh.
has this big giant bus and it's like decked out as a studio.
That's
And he just drives
awesome.
it all over the country.
Cool.
So bass, I don't know. There's like so many good ones. Like we switch them out, just like Steely Dan did.
Yeah, that's true. The right person for the right song, right?
Yeah, and guitars would be the same thing. You know what would be awesome is have you and Catherine Beeks as vocals.
Is she still in California?
Yeah, she's still in California and Joshua Tree or one of those areas.
Okay.
That'd be awesome. Like do some duets like that.
Well, it's funny you say that because I mean, currently, well, the last since COVID, I've been recording like a madman, and I recorded so many covers. I started being like, all right, who would sound awesome on this, like as a guest appearance? So
Oh man.
I, you should send me her email and see. I'll see if she's down to do guest spot. I just
Yeah,
got
yeah.
I just got one back yesterday from my dude Mark Abrams, by the way, who I
Oh, right on.
reconnected
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, yeah.
Reconnected with him last year and been working on tons of stuff with him. He's the sweetest guy ever, and
Yeah.
he
It's
does
like the same
amazing
kid
work.
used to be, but like a pro.
Right.
Like
I mean, it's like I'm so like I don't want to sound cheesy, but like I'm a proud dad to a point, just to
yeah,
know
yeah.
that even though, it's just cool that, he's doing so well with it and he's awesome at it, frankly. So,
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. Like to be like I was always I think I was a serviceable drummer. Like I could play whatever, but then there's people who are like otherworldly, you know. Samson, that kid's last name was Samson. Sean Samson was a
okay.
drummer for Junk Queen. That dude was like otherworldly as a drummer. Um, your old drummer, Tom Phillips, he was otherworldly. There's people like that who are just otherworldly and
But how do you feel about that though? Because like for me, I've come to the point in my life where I would, I respect the otherworldly drummer, but I want the steady, you know,
yeah, yeah,
simple, groove guy or
yeah.
groove guy or girl, you know what I mean?
And it just depends on what you're doing. Like,
That's right.
I don't think you would want that guy for Rush, you know,
Right.
and I don't think you'd want that guy for Steely Dan,
Yeah.
and I don't think you'd want somebody else like for that era of Sin Dust. I mean, that had a sound, and that drum groove was part of that sound, kind of like the Grateful Dead. That drum groove between the two drummers was like it defined that era.
What'd you ever think about that? I never really understood two drummers.
Um, I I didn't really much understand anything about the Grateful Dead. But they were one of my favorite bands. I loved them.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Just because I think because it reminds me of home and reminds me of my childhood and it
Mm.
reminds me of the ocean and the beach and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't really get much what's going on over there.
My boy Sergio here from
Hi.
from way back when, and honestly, like I said before, I can't thank him enough for just being supportive. And he had the music store, he had the the fanzine that went across. Like I still have all the issues.
Awesome. That's
I'm
awesome.
serious. I have multiple issues of everything. I mean, you covered my old band Sindust numerous times, and it was just I don't know, it was just awesome. And thank you.
Well, I mean, you guys were great. I mean, that's part of, and it's awesome that like I kind of liked the idea that like the people that I know are now making the music that kind of is that for the past 30 years has been like the in the DNA of my being. It's
It's cool.
awesome.
I'm
And
not,
all right, so another thing about Sindust, so I got this email from this other DJ who was listening to my radio show, and he was from England somewhere, some little radio station in England. And he's like, I one time took a camping trip and I saw this band in this town called Loudonville. And I'm like, dude, I work in Loudonville. What was the name of the band? And he's like, I don't know. Do you remember a band called Sindus? I'm like, hell yeah, I remember a band called Sindus. And
well,
he's good.
you sent me his email, and I've chatted with him, sent him a bunch of music.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you for that again. It's
I'm
just
not, it's not really didn't have anything to do with me. It's really more you guys. And then that connection, I was like, man, at least somebody else like knows about this, you know?
well, it's funny. Like I've been literally, well, I found and polished up like a ton of other stuff that I've never released, but like currently I'm putting up on my personal Bandcamp like literally every album or release I've ever done. I do it for me. I love it. I love
Yeah,
my
yeah.
music, and I mean, I would like to think I'm doing it for the right reason because it sure ain't making me rich.
Right.
That's for damn sure. But
Well, and I wonder about that too. Like, I think that era is over. Like Led Zeppelin money and Aerosmith
oh
money.
yeah, I
That
agree.
it's completely over. But I think that we still have the ability to send our kids to school, pay the mortgage, that kind of thing. I think that's still there. I think we just kind of need to nail that down. So
Mhm.
that money's there, I think.
Well, I mean, I am truly thankful and grateful like that I'm able to play music for a living. I mean, most of the time it's covers and stuff, but it affords me my days to write and record and do whatever I want, and then play at night.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like I've said before, like a long time ago, sitting down and looking inward and distinguishing what the difference of my wants and my needs are, and
Right.
kind of get rid of the wants. You know what I mean? And like I've said a million times before, it's recording and writing is cheaper than therapy, a psychiatrist.
Right.
So
It's kind of like riding a motorbike, you know?
it's fun when you do it, but when your friends see, no, just
Yeah.
if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I've been asked this before, and I have no idea. I would go anywhere. Um, Somewhere that's got good water and food. I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it. But I think Italy would be kind of good place to go hang out right now.
Where all have you traveled? Like,
Just in the United States and like Brazil, Argentina, that area.
oh, nice. How was
Yeah.
Brazil?
It was cool. All that place is cool. I mean, and that's got a good music vibe down there too.
How do you feel like rock is in America? Do you think it's taking a nap? Do you think it's dead? Do you think
No, it's still like every genre now, it seems like it's kicking hard.
you think so?
Yeah, I think like every like because my daughter likes to go to all kinds of different stuff, and we just see like just packed houses of all kinds of different music, and the people are awesome. The bands are awesome. So it's really good grade music, and it's awesome.
What's like
So
a new band that she turned you on to that you never would have probably heard on your own?
probably they're called Off Leash now, but they were going by Detention for a
Oh, from
while.
Akron. Yeah,
Yeah,
I follow them. They're great, man.
yeah. Have you seen them live?
I have not seen them live,
Oh man, that's an absolute must.
but I honestly I forget. I think you told me about them, and I checked them out.
They're great.
And
So
and they're all like young as hell too, and
yeah,
they're
they're all they I think they're two of the members I think are still in high school.
that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel the same because there was a show Critic City did like a year or so ago, and I had a couple of the School of Rock bands on the bill,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and like they're all like 18, 21 and stuff now, but they were great. I mean, it was just a cool feeling to know that there's still some kids that like some rock music.
Well, and I think now is a really good time because there's so many ways to get influenced by or not influenced, but get some sort of exposure on YouTube. So kids are like watching YouTube and
That's all
guitar.
kids were. That's all kids watch now is YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're watching guitar tutorials and watching all the bands that we watched growing up and getting influenced by all these different things and then kind of going out and doing it. The attention was just a little bit different to me because you know how like especially like a guitar player, um, like most guitar players can shred and nobody wants to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But if a guitar player can play a guitar solo in the spirit of the song, that's awesome. That's what you have to have. And that little kid, Evan, I think is his name, in um, Detention, he's got that. I mean, he plays in the spirit of the song.
Cool.
It's the thing that like really like I focused on like whoa, this kid like not only knows how to like hit the strings on the guitar and fret things, but he also knows how to build a solo and build a groove and a riff and all that kind of stuff.
Have they released anything new as Off Leash yet?
I don't think so.
Because I didn't realize they changed the name.
Yeah, it was that Musica they did because my daughter and all her friends made me take them all to Musica to see this some kind of secret thing that was going on, and it was that they were changing their name.
Ah, you're a good dad, Serge.
Well, I kind of want to go see the shows too.
Well, I mean, it is a compliment because both, I mean, Taylor and Baby are amazing human beings. So
Yeah, they're good kids.
kudos to you for that, man.
Right on. Thank you.
What's
Job though, I got two humans that I gotta like put out in this world, and I don't want to put two little kids out there. So paid a lot of attention to make sure that the people that I shove out my door
yeah,
are the people that I'd want to hang out with.
they're great, man.
Good
Seriously.
deal.
Is there a song you wish that you would have written? Like what's the song that's your jam? That's the perfect song.
Oh, there's just so many of them, and I'm gonna mess this up, I'm sure. Catherine Beeks had a song called You Know.
Okay. That's awesome,
Killer
man.
Jam. Killer Jam. And she also had a song called Precious that was out of this world.
Is she doing like corporate work and like
No, she's still doing
scores and
music.
stuff? Okay.
And I think she's still doing just music.
It's kind of like what I'm
Music and
doing,
art.
just playing out and putting out
Yeah.
albums, huh?
Her those two songs of hers are probably two of my favorite songs ever, ever.
Have you talked to Dennis lately?
No, I'd see him on Facebook,
Hmm.
but I haven't talked to him in a while because I here's what I was trying to do, and I was thinking that this would be so awesome, is coming up with like a super group, right? And then recording some cool songs, and then making like an EP on vinyl, stuffing it with a bunch of extra like flyers and artwork and all that kind of stuff, and selling it. Like, because I remember when I was a kid, we would get those demo EPs, and I love that. And
Yep.
I think people would still love that. And people our age, I mean, they got a little extra money. It would cost like 15, $20. And they would get like four songs, and they would be covers or whatever of like the super group. And he is one of the guitar players that I wanted because I wanted to do you know you remember Heather Pierce? Well, so I always wanted to do a cover of Cher, Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves, with her doing the vocals and Dennis doing the um the guitar, and then just get some other people to round it out. But just do like four different covers like that and put them out once like every 3 months. And what I wanted to do is so the kind of the real goal for that was to get four musicians that might not know each other very well, who
Hmm.
I thought had something to provide for that song, and then get them together to kind of hang out and then get to know each other.
Have you learned like how to like Pro Tools and GarageBand or anything like that? Like, have you messed with
I
that at
have
all?
oh yeah, I have a pretty impressive synthesizer collection.
Okay.
And I have Reason and Ableton Live.
So
Um
you're sitting on just a whole,
Goldmine. Yeah.
well, just like, yeah, I'm sure you probably have a library of stuff that, I mean, are you gonna try to put those out? Like
I keep
finish them
saying I
up?
am, but I just gotta like focus on doing that. I gotta focus on that for a couple months and then I can do it. But I always get like I would always rather work with a bunch more people because then you get more flavors involved. I think The stuff that I do with synthesizers, that's more like therapeutic.
Personal stuff.
Yeah, just to like it's kind of like throwing up. You know when you're sick and you throw up, it makes you feel better. That's kind of what I do with that.
Awesome. What's your favorite color?
Houndstooth. Because
What is
I can't
that?
I'm it's like a little pattern that old ladies have on their clothes back in the day.
I've
I
never.
just liked it when I was a kid.
That's a good
I'm
answer.
colorblind, so are really wrong for
Are you
me.
really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. What else? Like, what's another thing about yourself that I probably don't know?
I don't know. I thought everybody knew I was colorblind.
No, it
Uh,
didn't.
I don't know. I'm kind of an open book, so there's not much to it.
Have you ever thought about writing like a novel about all your musical journeys and stuff?
Yes, actually, not a novel, but a graphic novel.
Okay.
So I had this idea of writing a novel or a graphic novel about working in a record store. And the record store would be set, you know where you remember that movie Lost Boys?
Yeah.
Remember it was in Santa Carla, some made up town in California.
Yeah.
It's in that town, so there'd be like that supernatural vibe to it.
Okay.
Um, but it would be so when I was a kid, I grew up with this radio station called K Rock, and it kind of like changed the whole landscape of like us weird little kids.
Yeah.
The weird little kids started hanging out together because we had this thing that we could rally around, which was the music played on K Rock, like Depeche Mode, The Smiths, all that kind of stuff. And so I always wanted to make a graphic novel where each chapter had a soundtrack,
Oh,
right? And
that's
it music from the 80s, and at the same time get some of those artists to write just a little blurb of what was going on at the time, and it would be kind of adventures in that land of Santa Carla as a record store doing 80s things.
that'd be amazing, especially
I
if
think
you got permission to actually like include like a the soundtrack to the book, like or like every band.
I'm sure that's not the hard part. The hard part is drawing. I mean, to play music, you have to there's like stuff that has to go right inside you.
Or wrong up here then, right?
Right.
We're all
For
messed up.
me, yeah, for me, I can't draw and I never could.
We're
Otherwise, I would make artwork for my radio show.
I don't know, dude. That book that sounds awesome. But that do you find yourself do you have too many irons in the fire at all times?
Always, 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 always.
But I mean that's the thing though, you do finish things.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. And
part
some
of
of them hanging around for like 20 years, like this idea about the supergroup that's been hanging around for like 20 years.
yeah.
This idea about the graphic novel's been hanging around for like 20 years.
Well, the some of the songs I've been working on that Mark's been doing, I mean, I'm not going to release till next year probably because I want to stockpile so much. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's always been a problem too, is like finding the regularity of posting, I don't want to be that guy that has to TikTok 50 times or, put up
Right.
10 different things on Instagram or I just don't want to do that. So I'm gonna just have fun with like this, honestly, on
Right.
YouTube and just
Oh,
chat
so
with some old friends and
right. I also based a bunch of the characters on kids that I grew up with.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I went to check in with them to see if I can use their likelinesses or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And they've all checked out too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's just so weird.
Is there like an estate or anything you can contact, you think? Or
Well, I can get a hold of people because it's all in my hometown, my old hometown, and if I went banging on doors down there. But it's just I thought it was odd that so many people are gone in that were going to be part of that whole thing.
dude, time flies. It's crazy. Like I've been talking about like last year I decided to start doing recording full albums of albums that I thought were perfect in my opinion. So
Ooh,
so I did like I put out Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins, and I put out the Weezer Blue album last year, like a metal, like a heavier version. This year I got Jane's Addiction, Mother Love Bone, and I do you remember a movie called Real Genius?
dude, yeah, because that's
Val
where I went
Kilmer?
to school. Yeah, because
Okay.
so it's based on Caltech.
Okay.
That's where I went to school.
All right. Well, the
Yeah,
the one studying montage, the song is called "I'm Falling," and as a kid, it's still stuck with me for years and years and years. And I finally, a couple years ago, found out who it was. It's a band called the Comsat Angels from England, and I checked them out. I bought their entire catalog, and so I recorded that whole album. And for what it's worth, I mean, I just it'd be nice that they get some recognition. I
Yeah, yeah.
just I'm to the point now where I don't really give a shit about myself. I want to kind of if I can like I interviewed a buddy of mine who's got his own publishing company. If one person buys his book from watching this, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's kind of what I started this whole thing, the Village Buzz and all that kind of stuff was just so to get people to like when I was little, I used to go to all the record stores and they'd have the little pay, free newspapers
mhm.
with all the gigs and stuff. And man, I would look over all this stuff. I'd be like 8 going, "Man, I want to go to this whiskey a go-go and man, I want to go, all these places." And so when got of age and I could drive or go with my friends or whatever, I already knew all the places I wanted to go and see just because of that. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping for is like the radio show and all this other stuff will give people just an idea of what to do and where to go if they're kind of interested in this kind of thing.
I will put the link and everything up for your radio show too.
Oh,
So
perfect, perfect.
all that info will be in the bio and on the
Awesome.
screen probably. So do you remember what was the first concert you ever went to? First show you ever went to?
I don't know because I was like my parents took me to all kinds of stuff when I was a kid.
Okay.
So the probably first the first thing I remember was probably that Tower Power show.
Okay.
I mean, that's the first thing that stuck with me. So, but who knows what came before that?
Just got a couple more questions, pal. Thank you for
Sure.
taking the time to do this. Like I said, it's more selfish reasons for me just to chat with some old friends, people I respect and like. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that.
I mean, did you, by the way, like, you got to bring it up. Our boys, yellow number five. Do you see they're doing a cross country tour
Yeah,
right now?
yeah, that's awesome. I think they're playing at the Whiskey too, aren't
I'm
they?
pretty sure. Like,
So
yeah.
yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. So I shared stages. I played on the same stages with them here, and now they're playing on the stage that I played on back then.
Right. Was it
Crazy.
pretty cutthroat pay to play for you back then out there?
Oh man, that was the name of the game back then. It was totally cutthroat. But
Right.
the problem is, so back then, so pay to play for people that didn't grow up in that scene, pay to play is like if you get a gig that you either have to buy the tickets or you have to take a bunch of tickets and promise you're going to sell so many tickets and then turn in the leftovers at the end. So a lot of times, like you'd have to buy like $2,000 worth of tickets and make that money, like hustle.
Hmm.
And the problem with that for everybody is that you're competing with bands whose like parents own Crocker Bank and First National Bank and ABC and Paramount Studios and stuff like that. So you're gonna lose.
Do you feel that like musicians, bands, artists these days, do you think their social media sites are more important than the actual music? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does it feel like that to you? Like that the promos, they almost want more of your personal life or
I
something,
Yeah. So I have two views on that. Yeah. So like it feels like they want a part of you.
right?
Like that the life of being an artist, of playing in a band, doing all that stuff is really super interesting and that it's fun and cool all day long. And it's not. It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's like cool when you're on stage and the rest of the time you're just like hustling shit around and paying bills.
Well, what about like how like the fact that major labels are still somehow around, but also, do you think that I mean they're just keeping tabs on whoever's got the most followers and likes, and then they're like, oh, there we go, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't know that you need those guys that much anymore because really, so say I decided I wanted to record an album, right? So, and I need a guitar player, I need a bass player, and I need a singer. So I would just like start asking my friends because you already
you know
know
everybody.
you know everybody, so you don't have to really do that. And there's studios all over the place. So, and like if you tell somebody that you'll clean their studio, if you record their album or whatever, make some kind of barter, you can create a great album on the cheap. And you don't need a label to do that. You can book a tour on the cheap because you can do that now. So I don't know, and I don't know that people who would sign a record deal are going to make that any much more money,
Right.
go into debt and hopefully pay that back and make some extra.
It just seems
But
like it's the superstar, huge, huge, huge bands now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it's like they can take a loss if they want to because they've already made their millions.
right.
But the
And
fact,
I don't know that any of us have ever had a chance to do or because it's kind of like super rock star is a job, right?
Mhm,
And say there's 10 job postings, right? But we know that there's probably 2,000 people that are more than equipped to fill that position, but
mhm,
there's only 10 jobs.
right.
So that's kind of how it is. So if you're like the 11th band and you got your shit together and you're awesome, it just didn't work out. I mean, that's just not how the cards fell.
Well, and especially too, like, back in the day, if you've had a couple album flops, like the fact that like Hall and Oates didn't actually even have like a hit until what, their third or fourth album,
Right.
but
And
they
then they
kept
had an
them on,
album.
and then when we were kids, it was like it was still they wanted the next big thing, but now it's like if you have a hit, all right, whatever. You
Right.
you better have another hit, you better have another, and it's like,
And
I
what does
mean,
a hit even mean now?
I don't know because I don't know. I honestly, I don't know if I'm realistic or jaded, but like the Billboard Hot 100 or whatever, anything like that, it just feels like whoever's got the money paid to say, all right, that's that number now anyway, right? Since
Yeah, how do you get on that?
I don't even know, man, and I don't
Yeah.
even I, the way that record sales and single sales and stuff are now too. It's like a fraction of what it was when we were kids.
Right.
So you're right about the money not probably being the same at all.
Well, and so I've always thought that if I had control over a project, I would go after um like placement in movies because now there used to be like only X or N many TV shows being made at any given time, and everything was done well far in advance, and it's hard to get placement on anything. Now there's like every streaming station has their own TV shows, and
Yeah,
like if you could get into that circle, man,
right.
you go.
I that'd be nice. I mean, as weird as it sounds, I've the last so many records I've had, whoever's mixing it or whatever, give me copies of their final mix and then just the instrumental mix and then the
Oh
acapella mix.
yeah,
Just and that's kind of more too for like if that was the case, like if I had an opportunity to, a placement somewhere where they didn't want to hear my shitty voice, the music still could be good. But I mean,
yeah.
I also had him do it for my Patreon just because like I even did like acapella mixes and stuff like that just for more
Oh, nice.
stuff for I really haven't pushed it that much, but I got a couple, some people on there. But yeah, my Patreon has got like a billion things on it, and I try to keep it updated and everything. But
I gotta check out the. So you recorded those album covers,
they're
like
all.
the.
I sent. Well, in the meantime, right now, my one guy's mixing the Jane's Addiction Ritual album, and then I'll give him the Mother
Oh, you
Love
did
Bone.
ritual.
Yeah,
Huh?
and then I'll do give him the Mother Love Bone album. The Comsat Angels album's done, but then Marky's I sent him like 150 covers or something like that, and um, since last September or something, it's just I'll get drunk and start recording something I wanted to record, but like it's kind of a I don't want to say tribute, but also just kind of my when Sindust was in its heyday, and I had just quit my job. I called some friends up, my boys from Northern Lights,
Oh
and
yeah,
they had a cover band up in Cleveland. So I was like, "Hey, do you got any fill-in gigs? Let me know." Jumped on that. They had one, and next thing you know, I'm up at Put in Bay getting drunk and having a ton of fun. But it was
yeah.
just, but just seeing some of the other bands and stuff like taking themselves so rock star, and I was just like, this is okay. But I brought it back to my guys. I was like, well, what do you think about you know having a cover band, different name, but we take the dumbest songs, but also ones we like, but
Yeah, yeah.
make them rock out. So it's kind of a left-handed tribute to that stuff. So it's I'm just taking songs that I like. It's mostly songs that I like. Anything from classic stuff to 80s stuff to new stuff. So Marky's in the middle of doing that, and like I said, I've reached out to people, and like Scotty Parrish sang on one. My boy Chris
Yeah, yeah.
Hatton won one. When I got back yesterday, my buddy Jody from Buffalo. So I'm just now getting around to getting those all finished up, and they
That's awesome.
probably won't be out till next year, but we'll see what happens.
So when you do covers, like what's your like just you and acoustic guitar, what are some of your favorite artists to cover?
Honestly, every night's kind of different. I mean, I don't really have a set plan or anything, but I've gotten to the point where I don't even acknowledge the crowd. I don't even talk. I don't. I just play 3 hours straight with no break. And
Oh,
it's been kind of a fun game for me because like I'll be playing a song and or this ends in A while I'm playing it. What other songs do I know that begin in A? And I'll just
right.
go directly into it. So when people ask me why I do that, and I'll just have to explain the
I don't want to
worst
talk.
the worst feeling in the world is when you stop a song and nobody claps. It's awful. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna let you make me feel bad. So that's what I just tell them. And honestly, it's just been fun for me to do that way. And because I used to be known as, I'm not the proudest of my past and my youth. I was, quite the loudmouth, and I've learned that I don't know.
I think that
I've
just
tried to
comes
grow.
well, and that comes with being young and being on stage.
Well,
You know,
well, don't you think too? Like you hear through the grapevine, you got to project this, this attitude, this energy, and it's like I'm sure I was trying to do that, but looking back, it was just a dumb kid, just
yeah, but
we,
everybody liked it. We all had a good time.
yeah, but
It's all right.
I'd rather be a simple, honest man than a big mouth. But I'm sure it'll probably always be that too. Top of your head, best memory from your whole experiences in your musical journeys.
Oh man. Probably the very first time because Adrenaline Rocket was like a band that wasn't ever supposed to be. So, remember Catherine Beeks? She with Junk Queen. Um, we were talking. Me and Little Man were talking to her one night, some after some gig, and I told him I play the drums, and she can sing and play the bass. And she says you should get a guitar player and open up for us one night. And so we didn't really think much about it. And later on that week, I was like, I know a guitar player because Marshall played. He was one of the members of Hard Party
Oh,
in one
okay.
of the incarnations back then. And so he and I played together, but we are still friends at that point. Like we're still friends, like hanging out and stuff. So I was like, I can get him to play with us because like I see him all the time. So we were supposed to get something together for that one night, and then we ended up like that night they asked us to play somewhere else and then somewhere else and somewhere else and then it was like years.
Awesome.
But the first night that we played, I think that was one of my favorites because I was opening for Junk Queen.
Right.
That was real cool.
Dude, have you seen like Frank Medley or anybody for around for a
Uh,
minute?
I saw him at Fred's. It's probably been a couple years.
Okay.
Um, I was there and he was recording over at Fred's, so we hung out for a little while. I saw him and Sam Bradford was there too.
Okay.
And then I saw Jimmy Smith was there a couple times. So I got to hang out with like the old school because Jimmy Smith was my old or Vincent
Jimmy
was
Vincent, yeah.
yeah, he was my guitar teacher when I first got here.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's still playing out with a Jimmy Vincent and Stallion? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
right?
I saw him at the Worcester Fair and then I saw him over the Renaissance Theater. He's awesome. That guy's otherworldly also.
We were 16, 17, you know. I can't Frank was always so cool to us kids, he didn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be. when he had those Wednesday night jam nights and stuff, and it was just I don't know. Frank's another one that
Yeah. I
I
mean,
give
he's out
if
of
I
the
could give him
world,
if I could give him a hug, I would. I
right?
haven't seen him for a long time, but Frank was always awesome.
And he releases music usually every a couple times a year too.
Well, Serge, what was the every episode I try to do, a couple different avenues of art creation, entertainment. What's the last good book you read?
I'm in the this is not a good book, but I like it.
Doesn't matter.
Middle right now of reading the bio of Ace Frehley.
Why is that not a good book? I
It,
love that type of stuff.
it's um, it could have been. I don't
Is
know. I just feel like it could have been a better effort.
is not as honest as it probably
Well,
it
I
should
think it's
be.
honest, but it's just not presented
Oh, really?
in an interesting fashion. It's all right.
Cool, cool.
It's all right.
Well, I got you. So, let's do the Rex Brown official truth Pantera story.
Right on.
That's what it will do for me today. I'll just put that in the link too. So,
Yeah, I've been reading a bunch of biographies lately.
me too, man. I love that type of stuff, just to hear crazy stories behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah, because I read so many technical books all the time that I feel like I gotta balance that out or I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
Right, right.
it's all good. But Serge, I do thank you for being on here. I thank you for everything, brother.
Thank you for everything. We've had a good 30 years or something like that.
It's coming up on it because my
Yeah.
the first Send Us thing came out in '97. So
Yeah.
that
Like
little
it's
crappy
8 years.
five-songer. Yeah.
8 I still have that down in my basement.
Do
The
you
cassette.
really?
Yeah.
I thought about actually re-recording some of the old stuff that I can't listen to at all anymore, just because I don't know. Plus, when we moved, I found my tub of four-track cassettes that probably has 1,000 songs. I
Oh,
thought I thought
man.
I thought it might be fun to do a series of that where I play the song, the original one, and then I'm like show the process of recording it and polishing the turd and actually trying to make it a good song, considering I was 14 to 18, something like that, and I was still writing a ton of songs back then. I don't know. We'll see what happens if there's enough time in the day. But I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you. Let's get together at some point in the future and talk about like this super band thing or this EP thing or all these ideas that I got.
Sounds good, man. And also, 6 Degrees of Ohio.
Yeah.
I'll put all the info in the link below. Everybody
Sweet.
tune in, check it out, and you
Every
can
Saturday, 8 p.m. Ohio time.
every Saturday, 8 p.m. Sergio, thank you, brother.
Thank you,
I
buddy.
appreciate it. I will let you know when this comes out, and
Awesome.
I wish you nothing but the best, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks for joining me on Don't You Have Something Better to Do with Chris Donley. Take it easy, brother.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, pal.